up like, boom, I kick this
Switch.
thing or
Yeah.
I can think of a million things, great passes in a sprint car, things that have happened where looking back, it was just those moments where you're totally relaxed. Comedians always say it.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even there. I was just like banging out these things, or when you're singing, your stuff so well that you're not actually thinking about the moment. You're just in it.
Yeah, well, our drummer, James, everyone used to compliment him on his timing. I could waffle on about recordings that I'd done where he'd throw a delay on his drumming and it was in perfect time. Like he'd done it with a metronome, which he hadn't. And people took convincing for me to say,
is this the
whack an
the
echo
Young?
on it. Yeah, James Young. You whack
Right. Was he actually a relative of the...
Yeah, he's the nephew. His father was Angus and Malcolm's older brother.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was the brother between George and Malcolm.
Wow, close enough.
And there's actually another one, I think, somewhere.
Okay.
Anyway, people used to comment on his timing. And I asked him once, I said, is there something to it? And he said, ever knock on a front door? I went, yeah. And he said, every time someone knocks on the front door, it's in perfect time. I'd never thought about it, but now I take notice, and he's right. And it's that you just don't think.
Yeah.
So it's that being in a nearly asleep state. That gives it that
yet very
quality.
prepared, because you've
That's
knocked on a door
right.
a million times.
That's right.
You already know it so well that you don't care about it anymore. You have to be
Yeah,
prepared.
you don't have to look at the door.
Right.
It's like when you're learning to drive and people are looking at the gear stick. I'm talking about learning to drive manual. They look at the gear stick. The gear stick isn't going anywhere. It's in the same place. There's like one finger width difference between what gear you're in. Road's up there, and phone's down here.
Wow, that's great. Why did James leave then? What happened there? Can I ask?
He was given the opportunity to walk, and he took it.
Right.
He took the money and ran, as it were. And
sounds like troubles in the band.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he. I think that when you have someone that's coming in, I think that he came in a bit late. To be honest, we'd done things that he was Sydney through and through. I don't think he liked the idea of jumping in a car and having to change a tyre somewhere in the middle of nowhere while a kangaroo hops past or a bat or something.
Right.
Comes
And he's and rock and roll royalty. His life would be definitely... I don't know the boy at all. If you were the nephew of a massive name like the Youngs, imagine how much that would warp your mind. And then you're in a band with some lads from Hobart and Darwin.
I think that Monty Python put it best when they said albatross. It's like walking around with an albatross around your neck. You can't undo it, and especially if you look like them a bit, that doesn't help. And it definitely didn't with him. People definitely wanted to know him over and above other members of the band. I think that people really believe this, that some fleck of skin or that something's going to rub off through osmosis into them. Which is just
right.
crap.
What if they touch him?
That's right. It's and it's the same with bands these days. They're charging a fortune for meet and greets and stuff. I'm absolutely dead against it, because that's almost reinforcing. If I pay $150 and so and so sweats on me a bit, it was worth every cent.
Yeah.
I got something. But did you? Do you walk out of the movie feeling like you got something from DiCaprio? No.
Stuff creeps me out. It makes me realise how there's a certain percentage of, okay, you and me, I love stages. When you go see a band, don't you hate nothing more than being in the crowd? You kind of want to be side of stage.
I'm a terrible audience.
Me too. And I've got to be side of stage. If I can't be, I've never moshed in my life, or or I was wasted.
I did creative, what was the subject? Creative film and video in year 11, and they kept putting me in front of the camera. I wanted to learn all the technical jargon, and because I thought, I can use it for making music and stuff. And I'd just say something. They go, "Well, you go and do it," and they put me in front of the camera, and consequently, I didn't learn anything in that subject. It took me, another 3 or 4 years to get behind a mixing desk and go, "Oh, okay, this is how it works." But yeah, I've always, I guess I've always wanted to perform or have been performing from a very young age, and it helps.
Yeah. Did your parents? What did your sister play? Sax. Your parents? Anyone in the family musical?
Mum was she had a fair bit of piano. She could play Beethoven, and she could sort of meander her way through some Claude Debussy and stuff like that. But she never got past a certain level. That what did I say that my teacher said? You got to push till it hurts and then push harder. And she didn't get to the push harder point.
But no doubt you heard that growing up, and it was kind of in
Yeah,
your
well,
young years. You bring it out to these little babies in the house.
I was speaking of the death throes. I was in the death throes of that era pre-television where the TV was next to the piano. So, and my father worked for the ABC, so we actually went without a telly for about a year and a half when I was a kid, and it probably shaped the person I am today because we had to find ways to entertain ourselves. It's really. I don't remember what we did those before and after dinner times, but we must have been playing music or doing something to keep ourselves entertained.
Right, yeah. What a great... I do all the time, mate, is get on this iPhone. Even though everyone does, and we don't even turn the TV on anymore, but it's poison. Personal poison. Especially with you got grommets, kids.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember Mum and Dad playing charades.
The
power would go out. Remember those times? The power would go out, and all of a sudden your own parents would get all animated and put on a bit of a show. Or if there was uncles and aunties over and stuff like that, they get all weird all of a sudden. Like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I hadn't thought about this for years. When we first got Trivial Pursuit, that we played it as a family. It was one of those things. Telly was off, and these guys were like, I'm going on Facebook. Kids wouldn't want to know about that stuff. There's so much interaction through a screen that the art of conversation, what we're doing now is odd. I don't remember the last time I had a conversation that went this long.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Everyone says the same thing.
Yeah,
I can't believe I've left my phone there. Even to look at it, that's why it does the magic on people. Like, wow, I can't believe that even happened.
Yep.
But that's why it's good. And driving along in a car, if you listen to these kind of things, where it's something you're interested in. Let's say you're interested in truck driving. There's a truck driving podcast out there,
right?
So you can actually drive and not look at your damn phone. Like you can listen to things you want to hear, and that's why they're good. And anyway, why did we start talking about that? Can't remember. But how do you feel now?
The art of conversation.
How do you feel now, without being negative on the music industry? Because we know it's horrible. Spotify, 2 cents a song. If More Wine Way to Please was out now and they were selling it, apparently the band gets 2 cents.
Wow.
From and long gone are the days of. I don't even want to be negative.
Well, the most royalties I ever received that I can remember was when they started to make it a Australian law for the musicians that are involved in an international tour to get something of the take. I don't remember the ins and outs of it, but I remember that we toured with, it must have been AC/DC, and we got a massive royalty check at the end of it. It covered a lot of debts. I remember that. It wasn't 10 grand, but it was a pretty decent check.
Wow. That's more than anyone would make now. What about touring though? You're a popular. You get hundreds of shows. I remember even supporting your band. There'd be hundreds of. Did that make you money?
Yeah and no. I mean, I've got a book of check butts at home that make you cry. 25 grand on hotels and cars and stuff, and not for a very big tour either. Where you're going, and you actually start to work back through your head, and you go, "This is why it's better to not look at this stuff." I remember ACDC had their accountant on the road with them, and one night I saw him kind of pale, and they had some changes of venue and some stuff wasn't going exactly peachy, believe it or not. And I said, "How's it going?" And he goes, "They wouldn't believe it." He said, "But if they don't do well tonight, that's 800 grand down this week." And I was shaking for him. But I guess that's why he was there, because then they don't want to go on stage thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
$800,000 is a lot of money.
Isn't that crazy? Even to AC/DC.
Well,
And that would have been, what record would that have been? Not
Ball Breaker.
Wow. Which was a big record.
Well, not
but
the
a
biggest.
lot of stage. So I guess what they're talking about is loads of stage crew, loads of...
Big overheads. There's about
yeah.
70 staff. And, they took them everywhere. So that's all the airfares and... Yep,
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's the only way to fly,
What was that tour like?
It was great. They had a really great crew.
Did you get one light?
They were really
the old
nice.
ones?
I could tell you about other tours that sort of stuff. If you really want to.
Yeah. But first, tell us about the ACDC, because everyone.
It's always the same. It's always the same with the poor. The first gig, do what you want, drink all that. We don't care. Next gig, don't touch a thing. Every tour of my life, pal. Every tour.
Oh, no one. We didn't realise you were from Darwin.
Yeah. Is that the Skeeny? Hide the booze.
Yeah.
No, they were fantastic to us. They really were. And, we had guests, people that we met in the shopping mall that day. And you're very generous when it's not your money. And
Right.
we knew we'd overstepped the mark when their head of security came in one night and he said, "You guys have $5,000 worth of guests tonight."
Oh, really?
And we didn't know where to look. And he said, "That's it." He goes, "You got to shut it down." You're like,
You just walk in the streets going, yeah.
take 9 fingers off that hand, boys. Just
Interesting.
yeah, good times.
So James was in the band then?
He was.
Yeah. So it would have been a little special time with... Not that, hey, let's be honest. It's not that even Angus and Malcolm would have even been in town enough to even know this guy, let's face it.
He got a bit cocky one night. Bill Rudd had just got back in the band, and he asked whether he could get up and do a song. And he'd approached me about this after 15 beers. "I'm gonna get up and I said, "Have you looked at Phil? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't ask him." And I saw it go down. He walked over, asked him to turn around, and walk back.
Yeah, come on, man.
That one didn't go as planned.
And what song are you going to give up? What song would Phil Rudd give up? Like,
He actually said word for word, "That's my gig, pal."
Yeah. But could you imagine that? And I'm not shit. I don't even know this guy, so I'm not going to dump on him. But
he
imagine
took all
that.
these sweeties
I
away.
want to play Shoot to Thrill. Oh, that before his time. But you know what I'm saying? What? Oh no, it wasn't. But what song are you going to play, lad? No way. This is all my domain. This is all mine. Okay.
Phil was not amused.
Hey, but I understand, mate, when I was in Bull Rush, when we were getting, things were lining up, we were do a couple of gigs with you, when you're young, and all of a sudden you're sort of you've got all your peers in there's bands around.
Yeah.
And hang on a minute, we're doing better supports than them.
Yeah,
Looks like I'm getting famous. Like, I remember just like far too early, we all did in the band, thinking, well, this is it. We're going to be rich and famous.
Yeah,
and never even got close. But
this is it. Can
all
be
the same
real
dumb
close in
things.
Australia because suddenly, you've gone from being